things for qualifying. The clock has run out. Behrman escaped. Behrman escaped seconds before the red flag. It registers on our screen up in 10th position, and Behrman changes the order.
Setting up the stream.
The votes: Ward, Leto, Lawson, Hulkenberg and Ocon are the drop zone. Turn 4 is the heart of the racetrack we are focusing on, and Franco Colombo is reported he is okay. He will be told to remain in the car until given the clearance on the radio, and he's back in Formula 1. It's not been a return to remember so far. Q1 and 2 big accidents, the second of which Franco Colombo in Tokyo.
Had okay pace to this point, so the duty is actually technically great. Q2 is through, but it's not the first time in Franco's short F1 career he's been through with a smashed car, and it's not ideal when you're coming back in first race. This is one of those ones where you want to bend yourself in. It's a punishing circuit. You don't need to be a hero.
Don't be a hero.
5 races, because there is the pressure of having to pull every time into the car like this, but looks like any favours with that one. It's not that heavy whack.
Yeah, it's difficult if you get a reputation, you get a pressure. Williams, where quite a few incidents, it's clearly very quick. You get calmness, excursion, and we're about to have the opportunity of joining a fast start finish down into the sequence of turn 2. Is going to be on the curve on the exit. It's going to rest into the grass, and you've got to accept if you're going to be on the tarmac.
The first 2 parts, the drivers, both racing balls officials and actually have this moment without being called in practice. But they've just done the Sonoda over the right-hand side, and actually it's like they did that somehow. Oh, still, man, they just rolled towards the grass on the outside, they just carried speed and just ran out of road. They just didn't want to get to turning, it was over the steering and caught the grass and were playing with the load and the speed that he's on. Behrman got his lap in with seconds before the red. He's lost it again all the times there. So it looked to me like he had it fractionally before, and because Colapinto has crashed in the first sector, he may well have done that legitimately, but that has now gone.
They will be arguing about that, I imagine, on the pit wall pass to race control. Because it did appear that he was able to register the lap time before we got the red flag bracket. We know that Q2 is going to be delayed. We had one time deleted for track limits, but race control had deleted the time for all of them for not being completed before the red flag dropped around the circuit.
Looked like Perez wasn't going to be investigated for impeding really there as well.
Good news for Checo.
Good news for Checo, who's in the clear for this one. Yeah, interesting one for Ollie Behrman. That's definitely will be argument that will be done on an official time. So presumably he's not managed to get it in. It's going to be to Hulkenberg. Just fractionally late on the brakes, turned it in, dab of oversteer, and then sent it wide.
Yeah, you've got to have that confidence on you when you do these big stops to roll it into the apex. One little correction on the wheel was enough to then take him a little bit off the ideal line where it's not optimal grip. And it's painful. You know, that curve, that exit curve comes to meet you, and then tarmac comes into gravel.
Just see the loss immediately come up, and then you're on the run to the line. You think you've done a good enough lap, and a Sauber has to be perfect to get through. And with Behrman dropping back down, Montenegro is still sitting in the car as the Q2 contender for the moment.
We'll wait for the replay, because there's always the defining replay. We can run it through frame by frame. The lights all illuminate red at the end of the session, so there's always a very clear delineation of whether a car has cut the beam, cut the line, and registered time before those lights illuminate. So we're always able to show that. Hopefully we can dig that replay out for you. We are at the end of a very dramatic Q1. You've got to write Yuki Tsunoda trying to find more performance from his Red Bull prepared to practice out as well. It looks like a difference adjustment for Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari.
And while all that was happening, Hulkenberg was going wide, Colin Pinto was in the barriers. Lance Stroll was fourth quickest. So that is a confirmation. I think the medium tyre is just quicker than the soft. And all the top teams will be thankful for this. The one who wants to run on trying to hold this, you don't have much to hold the around the circle. That's a very useful bit of information for Stroll. That's what I was going to do. Third. Stroll's trying to
Distance, which controls the tire.
Screen, it looked like he got it in and then it went red by a split second, but Haas are going to be arguing it because it's been chalked back off, and of course Portoletto wants to sit in the car because he just wants to focus on a next flying lap and trying to make some more progress from 15.
Okay, in the drop zone, Lawson, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Behrman and Tsunoda, who had the big crash. Let's go through the defining footage with Alex Brown.
I don't think Oliver Behrman quite makes it, guys. Let's slow this down as it gets to the start-finish line at the end of that lap. You can see as it comes through this final corner up to the control line, which is where the flag is, the lights there on the gantry already red. So I think that Oliver Behrman will not make it, and the time he will lose, at least from what I can see here on the sprint. So I think running that through a couple of times, Oliver Behrman pretty clearly doesn't make the lap, and Haas are not going to be able to keep it.
Arsenal footage, and Alex Brundle will find it for us. Very much so. So clearly, red lights illuminated. The start-finish line is back in the front. So we're looking for the line that is by the checkered flag, and you can see, there you go, 4 or 5 red lights illuminated. The red flag flying, and there you go. The clear indication of why he lost that lap time that had momentarily put him through.
Why am I last on the thing?
Yeah, we're checking on
On the road, I'm trying to drill up now, so.
it. Yeah, we're checking. Hopefully it's going to stage. Then we'll get ready to go ahead.
Yeah, it's just the luck of the racing gods, and we can see the safety car, the medical car was leaving pit lane as he was already lifting, of course, and cruising, but that's the reason why they need, as soon as they believe that medical car needs to be deployed, just in case, then it's going to go full red around the racetrack. So, preparation for having done another solid lap. He's really taken to outright pace.
Certainly has points scored as well, and Murdoch got checking in with Jack Dillon, demoted after the Miami Grand Prix, and Franco Colapinto in the car. Next 5 races, it is worth saying that Jack Dillon is officially the first reserve for Alpine, and the return of Santos. Victoria, who first wandered into a Formula One paddock in the late 80s, is the acting team principal for this weekend. The racing duties are being undertaken by Dave Greenwood for the team based at Enstone.
Yeah, interesting times. The amount of different leaders they've had in that team as they try and find stability. You've got to say a lot of success at Enstone over the years, some of which Flavio presided over back in the day. And well, a lot of quality people there, as I'm sure Julian would be able to express from his time.
Absolutely. I mean, the race team there is, I think it's just always been a very good functional race team that know their stuff. They like to promote from within most often. Yeah, have a really good core team. When they have the car, we've seen them execute great race strategies. The pit stops, the mechanics are always doing a good job. We saw that in Brazil last year. With two good drivers, they can deliver and probably punch above their weight at the moment. Be interested to see what happens if Mercedes engines coming around with a big chance.
We're going to be getting back underway in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Before we do, we need a strategist to talk us through the tyre conundrum that is the C6 versus the C5.
Hi, thank you. I'm here in the pit lane. I've got Boone myself above me. And recently, because Boone was above Jack doing an Ocon discussing exactly that, probably nothing else. I'm sure they weren't discussing anything except what's the difference between the C5 and the C6. Now, both Astons were out on that medium C5 tyre. Now, Stroll on his lap in, Alonso didn't put the red light, which means, alas, we still don't have the answer. But right now, all of the engineers are going to be poring over the traces that where exactly in that lap Stroll was faster. We know opening the lap, the soft, that C6 tyre is going to always be faster. Whether or not in more than it came to the beginning of the lap. I have to say, I'm sticking with my guns. I think it's still C6, but I do not have my laptop in, so I cannot compare. But they're going to be firing up the car. Don't worry, we already know what the run plan is going to be. It's exactly the same as we had in Q1. 12 minutes on the clock. Expect lots of queuing in the pit lane as everyone is jostling, even just with 10 cars on track. That outlap is going to be absolutely critical going into the next session.
Data in front of them, but still sticking to the C6 tyre being the one that we need to be used. The start of Q2 has been delayed further, of course. They make sure that that is down
Saw it earlier on. Maybe at its absolute peak, the soft tyre should be better. But it's the medium tyre. This line looks to be a much more fine tyre. Easy to get a lap out of. And when you see guys throw off in the top four there, plenty of others just about scrapping to get into the top 15. And Lance is up there, Aston Martin in fourth. It's not a bad tyre, is it, the medium?
Balance is king. Grip, of course, is wonderful, but you can't harness that grip. And especially in these modern Formula 1 cars where you know that suddenly if you have a sort of tucking of the tyre or peak of grip that the driver isn't expecting, then that instability causes puts a little doubt through the seat of the pants, through the steering, into their mind. So clearly that medium is just giving the confidence that you know what the car's going to do.
So still, Oliver Behrman sits in the car. He is not yet exited the car. You're looking for, when he crosses the line, we were looking at the replay earlier on, you're looking for a solid bank of lights. So red lights are on because of the end of the session, but the row above would obviously illuminate as well. So you would have 3 rows of the lights to show that the red flag was out, and there's an LED panel there. But they're still continuing to go through it at the moment, and he's still remaining in the car. So this is a continuing debate, but they are keeping the British driver in the car, and it's under review according to race control. So this lap time that looked good enough to progress, then was deleted, is now back under review.
So if we got the information that the red flag was flying on our screens at the same time as it was actually flying, then he got it in within a second of it going. Yeah. There is obviously confusion, and now it seems like the race control are having a look and seeing exactly the order of things. I'm surprised they chalked it off so quickly, actually. It would be easier to sort of leave it as it was at the red, and then delete as and when necessary.
Which obviously is good. Sorry, Julian, I was going to say, review gives you hope.
Bortoleto is the driver at risk. This is a strange one, but of course they're taking more time here because of the situation that we had in Bahrain with Alex Albert and Nico Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg's time was beyond track limits. Albert was knocked out and should not be knocked out. He only rectified it towards the end of the qualifying hour before the damage was done. And that is why we have the delay at the moment for a solid bank of the lights on the main gantry and the red LED panel that's next to it. First lights that then passes are just for use of the starts. The low and the red light is only visible by the time that it gets fairly close. If the graphics, as Julian says, if the graphics fire at the exact time the red flag was flown, Behrman did make it. If there's a little bit of a lag there, they're going to have to do it frame by frame on what they saw on the main straight. So that is why we are waiting to see which 15 cars will compete in the second part of qualifying.
Well, I'm glad they're taking their time because we're doing a story fantastic. We've got a little bit of time.
DC, you know the answer is always yes.
So there was a scenario when I was on the line and it was in the ballot and I needed them intentionally with Jonathan Palmer and Julian. Not your father, but the team principal. And Keith Sauber was didn't get me the call. So in between Q2 and Q3, the stewards decided that I would need it. Therefore, they wouldn't let me take part in Q3. So I qualified 10th, only for them to afterwards, when we queried it, they went, yeah, we would in future not stop you taking part to qualify, and we would then review it and apply a penalty. So sometimes they have been trigger happy in the past.
It changes year to year, but is he not getting his opportunity back in the day? And the drivers are waiting with all of us at the moment for the big. Will Behrman make it? Will he get a reprieve and get a chance to fight in the next part of qualifying, or is it going to be a deleted lap time for setting his best lap, the time that got him through under the red flag? Not allowed to do it. Once the red flag is out, no one's allowed to log a lap time.
What's our gut feeling on this one then?
But they're going to need, because the timing page and the timing of the graphics hit after he'd logged the lap time and got the checkered flag graphic next to his name at the end of the session, they're going to need conclusive proof, aren't they, that he didn't make it. I think that's what Haas are going to be saying. The graphics, the timing system said that he did make it before the red flag hit. So can they find the footage that disproves that? It's a little bit